In trading, knowledge is power, and lack of knowledge in what you're doing can be costly, very costly. So you need a solid foundation of quality market education. Whether you're new to trading or a seasoned veteran looking to add advanced strategies to your arsenal, there's always something to learn and something to improve on. And now you can access the same knowledge that professional traders receive with Market Rebellion's Trading Education. I'm Bill Johnson, Head of Options Education here at Market Rebellion, and we've assembled a comprehensive curriculum based on decades of real trading experience, covering everything you need to know about trading options from beginner to advanced. We go way beyond the nuts and bolts of options theory to teach you how to apply specific trading strategies and the techniques needed to adapt your trades when markets shift. Regardless of your goals, you'll gain access to the education you need with easy-to-consume lessons so you can learn to trade with confidence, enhance your knowledge, and master the practical skills required for market success. So please join us for in-depth trading education only from Market Rebellion. Hey, good afternoon, Market Rebels. Welcome again to Coach's Corner. And Stu, before we even get started here, we got to talk a little bit about last weekend.
Did we do something special?
We did. We were in beautiful Riverwalk. Check this out. This is 3 miles of waterway in a big loop. Nothing but restaurants, jazz clubs, ice cream shops, sushi bars, everything you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Really. And the hotel dumped right out. I mean, our hotel door was right there.
Out the doors. Yeah. Yep. And the food was fabulous. Everybody had a great time. A lot of learning, a lot of interaction. It was a good time.
So those are our Coach's Corner live shows. That was our first one. And I think you said we're planning on one near your neck of the woods, right?
We're coordinating possibly in the Philly area for late September, early October. Nothing set yet, but that might be something to start thinking about.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's give them a taste. Now, I think it's going to be a theme for us for most of these Coaches Corners. We want to kind of interlace them here, show people what we talked about and will be talking about at future events. But a large part of the presentation was debunking the myths. We kind of made an analogy of getting rid of the old operating system and in with the new. You cannot trade options based on myths. You're just going to be making wrong decisions.
Oh, you can, but it probably won't
you can. You're not going to. Don't expect good results from it. Exactly. So another quick plug for us here: Lunch Crunch Q&A. You can scan that code right there, and you can join us for more conversations just like this, full hour. Stu usually go another half an hour to give people a think or swim walkthrough on Thursday.
On Thursday, yeah, we do a little specific trade analysis. We do
based on kind of what we talked about that day. Yep.
Outcomes. Yeah, it's a good time.
Yep. So Tuesday, Thursday. So if you want to join us for that, we would love to have you. But that is our Lunch Crunch Q&A. So for today, let's start off with our Chalk Talk question. Remember, this is our little challenge question for everyone, which we'll answer at the end of the presentation. So options decay because time is attacking them. True or false? Now, if you've been following us for any length of time, you know that we usually hit it from the side that the traders believe. This is what you're going to hear from most people. And this is why you'll hear things like you have to get out because you bought a 6-month option and it's down to the last 30 days. You need to roll out. Or you need to generate a credit to hedge your theta. All these things like this. And yet most traders never think about what's the price that I'm spending or that I'm receiving if I'm the seller. That's really where the game is played. So what we want to show you here is a new insight. Remember, install that new operating system and answer a question: why do options decay? And you're going to say, well, come on, it's obvious. I can shut this off. Nope, don't touch that dial. It's not what you think. It is not because time attacks them. And we talked about this before in a previous Coach's Corner. One of the things that people have to understand is that options live in this two-dimensional grid called information time. It's just not, here's our time, going January, February, whatever, moving in this direction. And, or if we want to say it's 30 days moving down towards zero, it's another way to look at it. We're moving towards expiration. Yep. But we're also gathering information. And it's this blend that we're kind of meandering in this grid here, that it's this trade-off between information and time. So what looks like time decay is really just that the option is not resolving information fast
So
enough.
Bill, like what's the information? What's the information we're gathering?
Good question. Could be anything. Could be as simple as just time passed. That's information.
It is.
We know that, well, it reprices the option. It's something that's known, but it's yesterday we had 30 days. Today we have 29 days.
Yep. Can't stop that.
Could be news. I know a lot of companies released earnings last night. News is a big one. Fed speaking. Who knows? 911, COVID.
Anything and everything, right? Anything and everything that's going to affect the value of the stock has something to do with the price of your option.
That's exactly right. And it doesn't even really have to affect the value of the stock from a fundamental perspective, like cash flows. It just has to affect your perception of it.
The change in stock price. That's all.
And that's all we need, is for people to think that it's negative news or that it's positive news.
Yeah.
So let's come back here and take a look at and I think we've done this before, but I think it really sets the stage for what we're going to talk about. Let's say we have a $100 call trading for 3. And we look on our broker's platform, it says theta is 0.02. Now what this means for all the new people, theta is our Greek measure for time. That's why they chose T for theta, for time. And what it tells you roughly is that after 1 day's passage of time, assuming everything else stays the same, which is never going to happen in a market, but mathematically, we would expect that this option should be trading for 3 minus 2 cents or 2.98 tomorrow. That's what that's telling you. It's just showing you the mathematical change from day to day. So you're sitting here thinking, let's say this is a 30-day option. And you're thinking, well, I've got 30 days worth of decay, and I'm only going to lose 2 cents tomorrow. Well, let's just, for a little thought experiment here, assume that the stock instantly jumps to 120 the very second you place that trade. That'd be a very fun trade, but it's to make a point. What's that call worth, Stu?
Seems to me it's worth $20.
$20.
Maybe.
Probably not going to be worth a whole lot more than that. It could, but exactly. It's basically $20.
Yeah.
But even it might be trading for exactly 20.
Otherwise known as parity. Yep.
Otherwise known as parity. But now here's the big question for all the people who think that time attacks an option. Did the $3 decay? Where is it? See, if the option is worth 3 because of time, we instantly pick up 20. Remember, no time has passed. Shouldn't that be worth 23? And see, that's something that a lot of traders struggle to answer. If you're going to claim that time attacks your option, then this should be trading for 23 because it's still 30 days worth of time. So the question is, where did it go?
Where did it go, Bill?
That's a good question. Well, if we go back to information time, we'll see it. How much time did we move through over here? None. How much information did we move through?
A lot.
A lot. We gathered a lot of information. So one of the things we talked about in Riverwalk is to think about the options market's job is to put strikes into 2 different lines. You're either in the money or out of the money. And prior to expiration, we put them in this little middle box saying, I'm not sure. And as we get more and more information, we start shuffling them into these 2 different lines. What has the market done right here? You guys get in the money line. We know this is going to be an in the money option. Now, remember, that doesn't necessarily have to be true, but right now that is the market's perception. And that's what counts. So here's a perfect example where we moved only through information, but not through time. So if we've resolved our problem here, our court case about whether you're in the money or out of the money, case is closed. It's an in the money option, so there's no reason to say I'm willing to pay another $3 for the right to walk away if it falls below 100. The market's saying, not happening.
We don't need it anymore.
We don't need it anymore. There's no insurance value. So what happens most of the time is we just kind of wander somewhere between time and information. And if we don't get a lot of information or favorable information across time, that's when we see the options price appear to decay. But it's doing it because we're not getting enough information. It is not time. Now, sometimes people say, well, it sounds like this is just a wordplay. Not true. And so here's a demonstration we did in Riverwalk. Let's do a little game here, Stu. We're going to flip a coin 5 times, and it's going to pay $1 for every head. What's the game worth at the start? And what's it worth after each flip? Because options reprice after information arrives. And isn't that what we're doing here? Let's say we get tails on the first flip. Is that information about what's possible? Yeah,
Absolutely.
we can no longer get 5, right? If we get 1 head, is that information? Yes, we're guaranteed to get 1, and we might get 5. We have
We
a
might.
higher probability of 2, a higher probability of 3. All of that gets repriced. So let's show I'm going to show you the long version so you at least understand the math behind it, and then I'll show you a quick version. Here's how we'd figure out the fair value. Remember what the fair value is. It's the price that if you were to buy or sell at this price, you would expect to break even in the long run. It doesn't favor either the buyer or the seller. So if we flip a coin 5 times, we have 6 outcomes. You could get 0 heads, you could get 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Now, if we go through and we were to count all of the different possibilities, we have one way to get 0 heads. That's to get all tails. All 5 flips have to come up tails. So there's only one path that does that out of 32 possible paths. Now, why are there 32 paths? 5 flips, we have 2 ways for the first coin, times 2 for the second, times 2, times 2, times 2. That's 32. So all we're going to do is take these probabilities. We know there's 5 different ways we could end up with 1. There are 10 different ways we could get 2 heads, 10 different ways to get 3, 5, and then 1. And if we multiply these out, in other words, you could get a $5 reward, it's just not real likely. You're most likely to get a $2 or $3 reward, so it kind of looks like we should be somewhere between 2 and 3 since it's symmetrical. So if we were to multiply these out, 1 divided by 32 times 0, 5 divided by 32 times 1, and we were to add all of those up, we would get 250.
So that really makes sense, everyone.
That's
If you
right
think
there.
about you're flipping a coin, it's really heads or tails, right? I mean, there's only 2
Yep.
outcomes every time you flip it, right? So shouldn't the most probable outcome be somewhere in the middle?
Beautiful. And that's exactly what I'm
It
going
just
to show
makes
here.
sense.
Exactly. So probably the easier way is to say each flip is worth an expected value of 50 cents. So if we flip it 5 times 50 cents is what?
250.
250. All right, so just remember that little mental model as we go through this. I just wanted to show that there is a method to the madness. That's the real mathematical way. So here's the 32 different possibilities. All right, so here's one possibility is to get all heads. Again, fairly or very rare because we see it's the only path that gives all 5.
1 out of 32.
And there's 32. Now there's one path of getting no heads, right? But there's several that give us 2 or 3 like we talked about. So here's one that gives 3, but here's another one that gives 3. Here's another one that gives 3. See, here's another that gives 3. That's why we saw that there were 10, if you count them, there would be 10 different ways we could get 3. So let's see what happens when people think that options are decaying. And what we're going to do here, just for the demonstration, is we are going to assume that we always flip heads. That's just to make the conversation go easier. I could have the audience, if we were in front of a class, and say, make something up. We would come up with exactly the same conclusion. Different numbers, but the same conclusion. So let's say that here's all of the possible price paths. This is what our option price is beforehand. It's saying, here's the possibilities. Game's worth 250. So we know that fair value right now is 250, and we might call that our time value. We have no interest, there's no inherent value in it. It's strictly the price to play the game.
We're
Now,
not in the money.
we're definitely not in the money. It's our entry fee. Now, what if we flip again? We're going to assume that we always get heads. We flip heads on the first flip. What information did we just learn? What is no, let's rephrase it. What's no longer possible? Could we land on this branch right here, starting with tails, if our first flip is heads?
Yeah, see,
Nope.
think of those tree branches. All that goes away.
All of that, anything that starts with T
History.
goes away. Boom. One piece of information, lots of stuff disappears.
Mhm.
Now we have 16 possible branches remaining, and we have, but here's what's interesting. How many flips do we have remaining? 4, right?
Or
We had 5 total. We just flipped one. We have 4 left. Each one is worth 50 cents. So how much is that worth?
two
2.
bucks.
But we've got a guarantee down here. We know after flipping heads, what's the minimum we could ever earn? 1, right? This would be our worst path going forward, that we flip all tails, but we still got $1. So if it's worth 250 for the unknowns plus the $1 guarantee, what's it worth?
350.
Now I'm sorry, we said it was $2 here plus
A dollar.
$1. I'm sorry. Right. We have 4 flips of 50 cents plus our dollar is 3. So the options market would reprice your option as worth 3. And in the business world, the options world, we'd say there's $1 of intrinsic value. And there's now $2 of time value. This is for what? The remaining uncertainty,
Four
the
flips.
remaining information that we don't know yet. Okay, so to make the conversation easier, we're going to assume we get heads again. What just eliminated? What just vanished? Here's flip number 2, this column.
Everything that starts with T.
Everything that starts with T. Boom. Half of the branches instantly gone. How many flips do we have left? 3, worth 50 cents, which is what? $1.50 plus how much guarantee?
2 bucks.
2. So that's 350. So the options market is going to say, okay, now with this new information, we are going to value your option at 350. And traders will say, well, there's $2 of guarantee or intrinsic value. And we're paying $1.50 for what? The remaining uncertainty. It's about information. It's not about time. It's what we don't know yet. Now we flip heads again. We're in our third column. Everything starting with T. Boom, gone. We have 2 flips left. Worth how much? 50 cents. That's $1 plus what? 3 is 4. Market says, all right, now the game is worth $4. Traders would say, well, that's $3 of intrinsic plus $1 worth of time for the uncertainty. We get another head. What happens? These 2 guys, that's column number 4, flip number 4 right there. Those 2 go away. We have $4 of intrinsic value plus how much uncertainty? One more flip that we don't know is worth 50 cents, so it should be worth 450. So the market says, okay, we're going to call that option worth 450, and traders would say there's 50 cents of time value. Not because time has gone, but because information has flowed. We're learning something about which branch we're on. And then finally, when we get up here, we now know the answer with 100% certainty. And we have, what's the option worth now? 5. We get $1 per head. How much uncertainty is there? 0. So we would say the fair value is 5. You got to pay 5 to get 5. And we have 0 time. But now here's where it gets super interesting. Take a look at our time value. We went from 250 at the start to what? 2, $1.50, $1.50 and 0. Now, we took some time to explain this, but what if we went through that in 1 nanosecond? Did time make that price fall? No, it was the information being revealed. It was the information across time, and that is a huge mind shift. So now watch this. If we plot the time values, right, at the start we had 0% of our flips used. After 1, we had 20% or 1 out of 5. Here were the time values. And here's what I'm just going to flip the the perspective and say, how much of the future was eliminated at the start? 0. And then down here, prior to flipping that last one, we had almost all of it resolved. So
Removing the
watch
T.
this. If I plot these numbers against time, we get a straight line. Why? Because time passes at the same rate every single day. You're not battling the clock, you're battling information. If I plot that same set of numbers against the future that's been eliminated, in other words, the information, the uncertainty, what do you suppose we get, Stu?
Straight line. On the second one, you're going to get that little curve.
There's your time
Look,
decay curve.
this is a difficult shift in
A
perspective
super shift, super
for
hard.
a lot of people.
Yeah.
It really comes down to what's the metric you're using to measure
Yep.
the dollars that are leaving the table over some period of time. It's like if you say there's $3 of extrinsic value in the beginning, and let's just say we got a hold of Dr. Theta in the beginning, and we said we're going to measure it by a 30-day interval.
Right.
Nothing really would change. I mean, you wouldn't have this daily number.
Right.
You also got to remember that this number of dollars that is going away as time is passing, is the whole number is dropping.
That's right.
Right. I mean, so that's something that you got to kind of figure in as well. It used to be 3 and now it's $1. And it looks like it's a higher number on the theta scale,
Yep.
but it's still $3.
That's right.
It going away over some period of time with any lack of information that could be changing the intrinsic value, which is really what was going on there. The intrinsic value was going higher.
That's right.
That option was becoming more in the money. We were
Becoming more
gaining
certain about which
information.
branch we were on. Right.
Yeah, the stock went from 100 to 120.
Yeah. We
Right?
know which
Because,
branch we're on.
yeah, because they wanted to buy them or something, or earnings
Right.
came out. So, there's not many certainties in the options market. One of them is that any extrinsic value at some point will go to 0. What we're talking about here is like, how does it go to 0? Why does it go to 0? And time is just the way we're used to looking at it.
We measure it.
We measure it on that metric, but
That's
there's
correct.
lots of different ways to measure it. And it's important that people understand that it's there for a reason. And that reason is what's helping to give you that curvature that's really protecting you in the marketplace, which is why they call it a hedge.
That's exactly right. Now, we did get a really good question from one of our members, Tim. Big thank you for that question. In the presentation, he said, "Is there a significance to the crossing point?" And later on, we had gotten into this thing about Delta 65 and what's happening. But what happens after a certain percentage of information has arrived? The value of the information becomes greater than the time decay. And that's why you get this gap here. Prior to this, what happens? Information helps, but time is more valuable. And that's why the green is above the red. But after you start going in a certain amount in the money, we flip. And this is another big mind shift for people. They see that it's gone in the money. They're setting up perfectly for the outlook that they wanted. And then they exit because they say, I'm going to start facing time decay. They don't understand it's an information game.
Because they hit some
number, right? I'm down a certain
something.
Right. Exactly. It's not a time game. It is an information game. So we just want to at least get the rest of you out there in YouTube land exposed to that, to start shifting your perspective that it is about information flow, and that options live in this little grid called information time. And that will definitely change your perspective about, should I roll out because I only have 30 days left? I mean, at one time we had only one flip left. Should you leave? No, it was exactly the branch you wanted to be on. You've now got a 50-50 chance of the maximum payout. When we started, you had a 1 out of 32 chance. Why are you leaving?
Now, also, one final thought here, as I'm thinking about this, what we're talking about the extrinsic value here, Bill, right?
Yep.
Now, we're not focusing on the intrinsic value. We
Right.
showed you how it develops, but the intrinsic value is That's your stock price relative to your strike price. And
That's
that
right.
could change with new information as well. But just
Sure.
bear in mind, everyone, that wasn't the focus of what we're trying to talk about.
No,
That
it's
$4 of intrinsic value could go away overnight. It's not because it decayed or it's not because of something. It's because we got new information, which, it's kind of code for, well, the stock got dumped on. If it's a call or if
right.
it's the put,
Yeah. We could change that model to say, well, maybe a judge comes in and says, I'm sorry, that last coin flip was an illegal flip. We have to put like they do in football, we got to put some time back on the clock. We're going to remove that flip. Well, the market would just be working the same process backwards.
Yeah, yeah.
And they would just say, okay, look, now we lost that intrinsic value. Market reprices it with more extrinsic value. Yeah. So you could, once you get that little mental model, you can flip it, no pun intended, in a lot of different ways. So with that, let's come back to our chalk talk. Options decay because time is attacking them. True or false? What do you all think? Big false. It is not because of time. Time is not a risk because it moves in the same direction at the same speed for everybody. It's 100% known. If it's 100% known, you cannot argue that it's an unknown or a risk. It is because of information flow. And so that's what we're asking you to start to make that mental shift that options live in information time. If you like conversations like this, please go back and check out that QR code and shoot that and join us for Lunch Crunch, where we do this for an hour, hour and a half, usually on Thursday with topics just like this. And we hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah.